What's up, everybody? We are live. We are live. What's up? What's going on, good people? Y'all already know the routine. Whether you're catching this thing live or you're catching it after it's uploaded, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Yes, I'm doing one more road game. I'll be back in the studio tomorrow. Got big things coming down the pipeline, but we're doing it here. I got brother Xavier here. You will be hearing from him shortly. Got another good topic. We're going to be talking about a number of things, but I last minute wittily came up with the title of "Surviving Single Motherhood." We're going to be looking at some stories. I mean, we could talk about the stats all day with children in the Black community born in single mother households, just one parent in the household, and the devastating effects of that. The devastating effects of that. We talk about the data with that, and we kind of break down trending and viral news stories. And y'all know the deal. Y'all know sometimes it gets real bad. But I do think that that's pretty much the source of the problem that we see with Black people, the lack of proper family structure. And yeah, I know brother Xavier is an expert on that. So calling out the things that are overlooked. Like, it's easy to always call out the daddy that wasn't there. Why the daddy wasn't there? But at some point, somebody do got to say, well, okay, what the hell the mama doing while she's there? Because I got my kids, and I'm, pretty much a single father, and I can't blame nobody else for any shortcoming that happened. Problems always become. One of my sons, his grade slipped once he got to the ninth grade, and I had to look in the mirror. I kind of went easy on him because I got used to him getting good grades, and then he started bullying, and I missed it. I missed it. It was my fault. It wasn't the fault of the person that wasn't there. It was my fault. I was on the job, so I had to get on him and get his grades back up. It's the fault of the person that's there. But there's a lot of different ways to look at that. Whether we're talking about something as little as grades or something as big as some of the crazy stories we about to hear on this show. So let's get ready to go. Strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Where's my intro? Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
All right. Shout out to everybody in the building. Do appreciate each and every one of you coming on through. Make sure you. Oh, hey, hold on. What am I doing? What I'm doing? I'm not even on camera. Shout out to everybody. Appreciate each and every one of you. Sir Tice says back to the early shows. Yes. It's probably going to be happening. Probably going to be happening more. Hopefully, I'll be getting started earlier. I'll be doing morning and night shows, I think that's what's going to be going on. But shout out to the early bird squad, those are making it bright and early before we even get things started. Just being jazzy, podcast, crafty ideas, and chill spot. Shout out to Old Bam in the building. Shout out to Old Bam in the building. He says there are some men in the community who want the non-select men to step up and save the single mothers. That's nonsense. Get your passport and go to Mother Africa. Right on, right on, right on, right on. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Deacon Dave in the building. Shout out to you. Coach Steele in the building says single mom just another teenage babysitter. Uh-oh. Get out of there. Get out of there. Shout out to Just Being Jazzy once again. Shout out to Deacon Dave in the building. Just put $2 on it. Put his last $2
These
on
last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Shout out to the Geek Surgeon in the building. TD Hutch. Sir Tice has already acknowledged. And Black Zillennial said Bernard's got the waves waving this morning. Yeah, I do it a little. I do a little something sometimes. Do a little something sometimes. But without further ado, gonna pass the mic to special guest, the man of the hour, brother Xavier from Prophet of Thought Media in the building. Let's go. What's going on? Oh shoot, mic check on Xavier. Oh, here you go.
Bernard,
There you go.
thanks for having me on. I don't I don't apologize for what I'm about to say over this next hour or so. But when I come to the grown man hour, I bring hell with me. Things you will
What happened?
hear
Why did
today
why you get rid of the dragon setting everything on fire?
appall you.
Hold on, it looked like something happened. Like when you switched
Because
it
I'm
back
having
out,
some type of delay for some reason. Like
okay.
it's back. How am I coming through? Is it delayed?
Yeah, it's weird because it's funny, I had some technical issues the last show, but it was on my end. But um you were good when before the show when we were
It's
talking,
like it's
everything was clear, but now for some reason it's choppy. For some reason it just got choppy.
oh let me go ahead and do this. Do some preemptive.
Yeah, do whatever you got to do. Try to touch and go whatever you got to do. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to
Yeah.
Hoop Jargon Media Network. Shout out to Spirit of Justice Sigma Empath, the Geek Surgeon once again. Yeah, he was saying it was choppy, but no, but we'll get it figured out. We'll get it figured out. I know my last show got
How am I now?
It sounds good now, but
How am I now?
No, you sound. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, it is a slight delay. I could tell.
I don't know what the hell is going on here. Well, let me do this. Let me jump.
I can even hear myself real low, and it's like after I say it, then I can hear myself say it again, and then you respond. So it's like you're hearing me late.
Yeah, this is stupid. Let me jump down and jump back up. I'll come right back up. Just give me like, I don't know, 2 minutes. Let me jump down and come back up.
All right, yep. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. We'll get that worked out. We'll get all the odds and ends worked out. We will get all the odds and ends worked out. Yeah, me and X do this all the time. For some reason. And I had the last road show. I was when I was on the road at my lady's house, I for some reason had technical difficulties on the Saturday show. But it was on my end. I had to update my computer. It wasn't even nothing technical. The Wi-Fi was good, but X said he just moved to a whole new place. So that could be potentially the issue. That could be potentially the issue. But what's up? What y'all got? What's up? What y'all got? What's on your mind? Let me know something in the chat room while we wait for X to come back. Throw out a topic. I'll bounce off of y'all. Throw out a topic. I'll bounce off of y'all. Whatever y'all conjure up in the chat room, whatever y'all call. I used to do shows like that. I used to call it Freestyle Friday, where basically y'all pick the topic. X is back, so we may not do a freestyle show. But that would have got fun. That would have got fun if I would have just let y'all. if X didn't get it figured out, I just would let y'all pick the topic, and we just would have just fed off that. That would have been kind of fun. But we'll see what's going on.
Okay, how we sound now?
We're sounding good.
Okay, good.
And you responded to me right on time, so that means
I don't know what be going on, man. This only happens when I come to the grown man hour for some reason. Like it's like they want to keep us from collabing or something.
Yeah. They out to get us. He threw out there egg prices. Just steal eggs. That's apparently the new wave. People just stealing eggs. There's been plenty of videos that went viral, or people taking pictures. Chicks taking pictures of eggs in their purse while they're at the grocery store. Like they're stealing eggs. So there's that. That's the solution to the increase in egg prices. I think that they're supposed to be going back down because they said something along the lines of they lay eggs in waves and seasons. So I guess eventually the eggs will catch back up and get back in rotation. I think.
Yeah.
So
y'all better go buy y'all some laying hens, man.
Yeah, there you go. That's the solution. Buy some damn hens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hell to take care of, though. I tell you that. I used to do a lot of it when I was a kid, boy. They hell to take care of, boy. You got to be ready for it. Trust me. You must be ready for it. Because I hated it when I was a kid. I hated it. Because we had chickens. I was like, oh, man. Then you got to deal with everything else. You got to deal with the vermin. You got to do the cleaning and all this other kind of stuff. Ticks, fleas, all kinds of foolishness. So, yeah, there is that.
Oh, Hoop, hit me up on that. And we can get a date set. We can get a date set for that. That very woke, the wokeness of changing how they do the order in which they pick the all-stars. So no professional genetic freak of an athlete who's getting paid $20 million won't feel bad because he got picked last to be on the all-star team. It's like, they like what kind of babying, pampering stuff that was ridiculous. So yeah, hit my email. We can collab on that. And so yeah, so we'll definitely do that. But all right, let's get on it. We got X back in here. We got the technical issue out of the way early. So we about to, we stumbled out the blocks, but now we're about to hit the ground running. So what's going on today? What we about to hop on today? You sent me you sent me a video. You sent me a couple of things. I know the first thing we're going to get into. I don't know if you want to dive right into that first video, that first story that you can kind of see. I got kind of the teaser trailer of it is in the thumbnail. But
we can start there. There.
All right. So give us a setup of that story and what's going on there.
Oh, okay. Y'all know that, on YouTube, in this corner of YouTube, I'm known as these old mamas. Man, we all know that. And I usually tell these stories quite often. I actually used to start with one every time I did a live stream. And this particular one here, it's a chick. Her name is Dewan Anderson. And they found her son in a suitcase. He was reportedly missing. In, I believe, April, but they didn't find his body till like October. He was missing for quite a while, and she's from Atlanta, but they found his body in Indiana. So, I mean, it's the classic case, right? Where one of these women, they kill the kid, and then they stuff the kid in the basement, or they stuff the kid in a suitcase, put him in a plastic bag, et cetera, and just leave him somewhere like he's garbage. But this particular case is kind of strange because this woman, I believe, suffered from UMI, undiagnosed mental illness, and she was doing Facebook posts about exorcisms and using blood and all this so kind of foolishness. So this was kind of premeditated, if you will, because before this little boy was murdered, she was on Facebook talking about demons, like I said, exorcisms, because she had gotten locked up, right? It was her and another chick. The other chick, I forgot what her name is, but they had got locked up because she was driving 92 and I believe a 55, and she got arrested. And when she got out of jail, she started talking about leaving the jail and going home and exercising some demons, right? So she gets out of there, and when she gets out of there, she just starts doing all this crazy stuff. The other chick, her name is Dawn Elaine Coleman, all right? Mm-hmm. And I want to say the little boy's name too. His name is Cairo. Yes, his name is Cairo. So little Cairo ended up being killed, and I believe both of these women had something to do with it. Now, they've locked up DeJuan Anderson, right? No, they've locked up Dawn Coleman. They're still looking for DeJuan Anderson. They're still looking for her because both of their fingerprints were found on the suitcase where this boy's body was found, in this fancy Las Vegas suitcase in the middle of the woods in Indiana. And they murdered the boy exorcism style.
Jesus. All right. Before I even roll the tape, because I don't even know if the tape even lays this out. Why or how or what did they even explain? Like, what was the reason why? Like, it apparently happened in one state, and then was it the transporting, taking them in a suitcase to another state? Was that just the process of which they were just trying to just get rid of or hide the body? Is that pretty much what was going on there?
I believe so, because his body was discovered by some old white guy, right? And they didn't even know who this kid was. They had no idea he had been there since like April. And some old white man found the body, and they were trying to identify him. They tried to identify him for months, but eventually they were able to identify him, because when they found him in Indiana, the people found him and they did a whole memorial service for him and everything else, and they had no idea who he was. But eventually they, through Facebook posts, through the video of her getting pulled over by the police earlier before the boy's death, they were able to put two and two together and match it. And then they did the fingerprint thing. Their fingerprints came up because both of those chicks had records, and they were able to kind of do some reverse investigating, if you will. They were just working in reverse, just kind of backing it up, and that's how they eventually was able to identify the boy. So
all right, here's the news story right here. So I'm gonna roll this. Let's go. Hold up. Here we go.
We are hearing from the paternal grandparents of the 5-year-old Atlanta boy found dead in a suitcase in southern Indiana. Cairo Jordan's body was found in April, but his body was just identified. His mother, DeJuan Anderson, is now wanted for murder. Court records show Anderson posted on social media that she believed her son needed to be exorcised or killed. Police also say she wrote of hexes and curses, quote, protection spells and reversal spells. Family members say they wish someone would have reached out about the social media posts.
That could have saved Cairo, that could have saved his mom, could have brought him back to Georgia, could have helped him in whatever way he needed.
For this to happen, it sort of blew your mind because, she seemed like she was a good mother.
There is a nationwide search underway for Cairo's mother, Dewan Anderson. Investigators say she was last seen in the Echo Park area of Los Angeles.
All right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Um.
And isn't that always the thing that they say, oh, she was such a good mother. She appeared to be a good mother. Oh, I thought she was a good mother. The woman was insane, okay? She was totally insane, suffering from UMI, undiagnosed mental illness.
Yeah. See, my thing that I always come away with it, and I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, I kind of do, but trying to put your finger on exactly like somebody could be a chick could be a single mother, eh, clearly posting things on Facebook that really demonstrates that, wait a minute, this person isn't well. It's like
Yeah.
it's like there's a clear, I guess, hesitation that we have when it comes to CPS. You know, I don't know if it's like an extension of the no snitch rule, like you don't want to be getting the peoples, putting the peoples on somebody, as they say. But it's like, if she sit there, that this person is there alone with a child all day, and she's talking about putting on hex on people, exorcisms, and this or that, or blah blah blah. It's like it's clearly being put out there that this person isn't well, but it's like everybody sees stuff like that, but then people just shake their head and ignore it, and nobody even thinks that maybe all of this crazy is going to trickle down to this defenseless toddler that's right there with the person all day. That people never think about it like that.
Because when it comes to us black folk, and I've said this a million times, y'all know what I'm going to say, no matter what type of mother she is, it's already taken for granted that she's a decent mother. No matter what type of person she is, no matter what her mental state is, no matter how much she holds, how much she gets high, how many men she got traipsing back and forth through the house, it doesn't matter. If she's a mother, she's a good one. You know, it's the old, even though you was a crack fiend mama, you was still a black queen mama. I mean, it's that, man. It's no matter what type of woman this person is, she is perceived as a good mother, even if she's a horrible mother. Even if she treats the kids horribly, even if she beats them, abuse them, allow them to be abused, leave them home by themselves, smoke crack and blow crack smoke in their face. It doesn't matter. If she's black and she's had some babies, she's automatically a good qualified mother, for the simple fact that some kids have fell out of her damn funk box. That's it. No matter what you say, because you got people right now, right? And I catch a lot of heat about this because I talk about it a lot. People will say, oh, well, that was your mother. You got to get over it and all this sort kind of stuff. And you know what I say? I say, fine. But you chicks out there who are with these dudes who busting your lip, blacking your eyes, and throwing you down the flight of steps, y'all get over that. Because guess what? When that dude went to work, you could have got up, got in your car, and left. You're an adult. You could have left. You could have went to a woman's shelter. You could have went back to your mama's house. You could have called the police. You could have did all of that. A 5-year-old child does not have that option. He can't jump in his car and leave. He can't just jump up and take off, right? He can't just run away. He's not going to call the police. So when people say that kids should just get over stuff that happened to them when they were younger, they're out of their mind, because these same people will cry, bitch, and moan about how abusive men are to grown-ass women. But when it comes to little children, everybody needs to get over it. To me, that's just insane to me. It's insane. because a child has no choice. He has no options. He's 5 years old, man. He's got things happening to him that he doesn't even understand, and there's nothing he can do about it. He has to endure it. He has to endure it. That's it. Grow with it. Get used to it. An adult does not have to do that, because you can walk out of that door anytime. You can get right up and walk out of that door.
Sir Tice in the building says posting pics on Facebook and IG with your kids counts as being a good mother/father nowadays. You really think people like this are reading to their children at bedtime, putting their kids before them? Not. Yeah, very true, very true, very true. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. And we do have a culture where, Facebook and Instagram posts establishes being a good parent. Absolutely. That's what's going on. That's what's out there. One thing that you said that was really, really interesting. You said that kid is basically defenseless. He's not going to, he's not in no position to fight back. He's not even going to call the police. There's an aspect of this. What's your want to hear your thoughts or a rant on this aspect of the culture where we've all heard it, even if you didn't hear it directly in your house. You've seen the comedians make jokes about it. We've seen them all make jokes about that. The kid calling the police on the parent. The mama. My mama snatched the phone. Like, I dial them for you. They tell them to come with an ambulance. Like that's what it is. Like, it's like there's a culture of what happened in this house, stay in this house. You better not tell nothing. And
Yes.
And that's, it's a culture of that. So where even a kid being abused is trained and conditioned that I'm not supposed to say anything to anybody about it. I'm not the picking up just dialing 9. It's like they teach you real fast when you're a kid how easy it is. Just dial 911. That's why they make the number easy to dial and to remember. So even a kid could do it. That's why they make it so easy. So even a kid could even if you're old enough to count or just basically know his numbers, he could dial 911. But there's an aspect of the culture that tries to teach kids not to do that. Don't do that. Don't you tell them, mama.
Don't you talk about what's going on in this house.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing behind that is, especially when you talk about Black people who are on the lower socioeconomic scale, right? Mm-hmm. Because we have this thing with us where we don't want, even if we don't have money, right? If we don't have a lot of finances, if our economics ain't great, mm-hmm. we think our appearance of things being normal is better. We want to appear more normal than the next person, right? Even if we broke, we don't want no one to know that mama's boyfriend is abusing the kid. We don't want people to know that mama is beating you, with the mop handle every other night. That's something that people, they don't want it out there, right? Because we need to appear more normal than the neighbor or the next Black person, even if it's totally abnormal inside the residence. We need to put up that appearance. That's that whole thing about, don't say nothing about, don't you talk this business. Don't you talk family business. But see, what people don't understand is that this is not family. This is not business. When a child is being brutalized and beaten, bloody, killed, there's nothing family business about that, man. When a kid is being abused and touched, there's nothing family business about that. And I think that's the one thing that we are ashamed of, because there's very little shame in many parts of Black society. There's not a lot of shame there. But I think the shame in these things matters. We don't want people to know. We don't want people to know that this boy is getting his arm broken and he's 5 years old. We don't want people to know that this little girl is getting touched by mama's creep ass boyfriend. We don't want people to know that. So we figure if we deny it, it's almost the same as it not happening, which is stupid, okay? Which is stupid, because we think if we don't talk about it, it's like it never happened. I've spoke about this before, because there's a lot of this kind of crap going on inside of black society. Now, black people will tell you that, it's these rednecks in the mountains of Kentucky that are doing this. But no. There's a very big percentage of black children who get abused, molested. I've talked about it a million times to y'all. All right? A very big percentage. And the thing is, it goes so far, Brother Bernard, that 10 years, 15 years later, people are still hush-hush about it. These dudes who used to touch on these children 15, 20 years ago, they're still invited to the barbecue. They're still invited to the family reunion. They're still invited to dinner at mama's house. And they are around the same people that they touched when these kids were younger, 15, 20 years ago. So what happens? The freaking guy, he gets to walk around and pretend like he didn't do anything. And guess what? The children that are now adults, they walk around and pretend like nothing happened. And so does everybody else around there who knows about it. And not only that, this same dude who touched kids 20 years ago, he's around children that are the same age as the children he touched 20 years ago. And everybody just walks around and pretends like nothing's going on. That's kind of part of it, man. That's the problem of it. That's the whole injuring of the psyche of it. Because I'm about to tell y'all some stories that's going to make y'all skin crawl. Oh, yeah, prepare for your skin to crawl in here today. All right? Because y'all know when X comes to the grown man hour, he brings hell with him. Oh, yeah.
Right on. Java Joe in the building with the $5 super sticker. Thank you for putting 5 on it. Shout out to you. Appreciate you putting 5 on it. But yeah, we definitely would much rather suffer through the problem before we'll have people know that don't know that it exists, or before we have people know that it happened. That is the messed up horrible thing about it. One question I want to ask you, I should have sent you this question beforehand so you could probably check through your catalogs and do some research on it. But in this space, we talk a lot about black men and black boys or whatever. But when it comes to these type of things, like the story we just told and a lot of the other crazy stories you cover about this kind of thing, do it seem like they do this stuff to the boys more than the girls, or is it like pretty much equal? When it comes to a crazy mama, anybody can get it. I hate to make a joke, but do it seem like they do it more to the boys?
Well, from what I've seen over the years, little girls are more likely to be sexually violated. Little boys are more likely to be, physically abused. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, the physical abuse or murder. That's what I was getting at.
Yes. It's more likely that the boys find themselves, physically abused, killed, things like that. Now, 25% of black boys, 1 out of every 4 black boys also get sexually violated by the time they're 16 as well. I think it's somewhere between 50 and 60% of, at least according to the last study I read, which was in 2020, somewhere between 50 and 60% of black girls have had some type of sexual violation by the time they're 16. So the thing with little girls is little girls are more likely to be sexually violated. Little boys are more likely to be, physically abused, according to the numbers that I've read, the most recent study. So there is that element. the little boys will find themselves beaten, killed, hit with baseball bats, and burned, and all that kind of foolishness. And the little girls have a tendency, to be molested more. A higher
Yeah.
percentage, get sexually violated.
I think Nate alluded to it in the chat room. I know he always does. I was kind of scanning the chat. I didn't really see it, but I don't know if he alluded to it or not. I still shout him out because I think he's the one who brought this data. At least he brought it to me on how when it comes to fathers, when it comes to girls getting touched on when they're younger, the biological father of the child, even if he's an outright creep, they normally never. It's almost statistically barely even quantifiable how much they practically never do that to their biological child.
Yes.
And so that does speak volume to a big the breakdown in whatever's going on between black men and women that have it to where the the marital rate is so low, the cohabitating rate is so low, the rates of anything when it comes to togetherness and family is so low. That's going to cause an uptake in the the big problems that they talk about. The big problems they talk about girls being molested, and then by extension, like you said, the boys are more likely abused. I mean, we saw the movie Antoine Fisher, just to put a visual thematic example in front of people's face of that. When the biological father is there, the chances of the girl being molested or touched on it drops almost to the point of being statistically meaningless.
Oh yeah, it's insignificant.
And that's the word I was looking for. Statistically insignificant.
Yeah, it is. It is because when it comes to this kind of stuff, somewhere in the tune of I think 70 and 80% of the children that find themselves abused, molested, violated, they don't have readily access to a father. Most of these children that this happens to, these are children, of course, of baby mamas mostly. They don't have regular access to their father. Their father doesn't live with them. Their father isn't, quote unquote, in their life that way. And even when it comes to the physical abuse, right? If your father's in your life, your mother's less likely to be beating on you, man. That's just a statistical fact. I mean, because I tell people this all the time. Your father doesn't just protect you from the creepy old rapist down the road. He doesn't just protect you from the monster under the bed or the boogeyman in the closet. He also protects you from your old mama, because you're less likely to find yourself abused or beaten if you have a father in the house. All right? Because see, when you have a father, and he doesn't even necessarily have to be in the house, if he's in your life, because that puts that thing in that woman's head that she has to answer to this man at some point. So what she does is, if you do something out of line and your father is in your life, what she do? She get on the phone. Oh, I'm going to call your daddy, boy. I'm going to call your daddy. She's less likely to crack you across the head with the mop handle or go across your face with one of her 6-inch pumps, because you have a father, and that father puts that firewall between you and your mama. All right. And if he's living in the house, forget it. Your mother's definitely less likely to be, beating you, with braided switches or cracking you across the head with the broomstick or grabbing you by the leg and throwing you down the stairs. She's just less likely to do it if your father is in the house. She just is, because your father serves as a firewall between you and the abuse, because she has to answer to that father. If she picks you up, you 4 years old, and she throws you down the stairs, the old man isn't going to take too kindly to that, is he? Nope. So she's less likely to do it. I mean, that's just what it is, man. When you take the father away from these children, not only do you expose them to being sexually violated, you also expose them to be physically abused, tortured, starved, abandoned, and in a lot of cases, killed. I talk about it all the time. I got so many stories of women just flat out murdering the kids. I will never run out of them. Never. And that's sad. I will never run out of stories of women killing children. I will never run out. I used to do one every single stream, never repeated one yet, and got 100 more I could do. Because what people don't know is this, right? An average of, I believe, 200 and 300 women kill their kids per year. Okay? Now, those are the ones we just know about statistically that are known. So that's at least 200 to 300 children that get murdered, right? That's granted that they only got one kid. But you know that's not the case because you know some of them got 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So it could be as many as 500 kids, 600 kids, as far as what we know. Because if you got 200 to 300 women killing their kids a year, that's at least 200 to 300, right? If they only have one. And a lot of them, like I said, have multiple children. So it could be 400. It could be 500. It could be, we don't know. And see, we don't see it as a crisis. We don't see it as a crisis. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe it has to be 5,000. Maybe it has to be 10,000 before we start talking about it. Now, X has been talking about it for years. I have been talking about this crap since 2015. Okay? I didn't just start doing it today, yesterday, last year. I have been talking about these old mamas for years, Negroes. And people are finally starting to believe me after all this time. And I thank you, brothers, for confirming what I've always knew was happening. So everybody's caught up. I'm glad.
All right. Now, one thing that you sent me is this right here. And by the way, you sitting on a book. I'm gonna probably talk to you about that more and try to.
Yeah. You told me that before. Like, oh, you should write a book, X. I'm thinking about it, man. I've considered it.
Yeah, no doubt. But you had sent me this video here, and if I understand it right, this was a young lady that was on your show.
Yes.
On your show. Now, was it a particular place that you wanted me to start this from, and also let you set it up before we roll the footage?
Yeah, you can start it right where I think I sent it to you timestamp, but I'm old. I didn't have my glasses on, so I might have didn't.
I think you did, but I think I started pushing.
I am old, and my glasses, I just found them like this morning. So
okay, let me see if you time stamped it or not. I'll check I'm looking at the original email right now, and there are no timestamps. But I think they got it. So no, there are no timestamps in here.
Okay, I think you can start it from where I sent it at. I think that's how I sent it.
I think that's how it worked. Wherever you set it at when you send it.
Yeah,
that's where it's automatically going to start. Because it was at about the 14-minute mark. So
okay,
got it at 13:59. So we'll just start from there.
Okay.
And, do you want to set anything up before we?
Yeah. This is Lady Nisha, and Lady Nisha is one of those young ladies who grew up in a house of horrors. She decided to come on and talk about it. And, she also had an old mama who knew what was going on. Step pops molested her for quite some time. And she decided to come on and talk about it. Now, I've talked to a lot of women about this stuff over the course of the years. And what y'all about to hear now is actually relatively light compared to what I'm going to tell you later. Because after this, my girl Nora P, she also came on and talked about the abuse she was going through. But yeah, what y'all about to hear is relatively light compared to what I'm going to tell you later on. But go ahead, you run it, Brother Bernard. You got it.
All right.
Fair use, Negroes. Fair use.
You gotta get him.
And something else before you start it, man.
Yeah.
Y'all need to hit Brother Bernard's Cash App, and you need to go ahead, man, and go ahead and super chat the brother, because the brother is bringing you good stuff like he does all the time. Because if you don't, I will haunt your old black ass mama in her dreams tonight. Go ahead, Brother Bernard. You got it.
Right on. No, appreciate that.
It's just me. It brings up a lot of memories and emotions and stuff like that. And I learned that energy is still here. And it's up to me to change that.
Oh, well, hold up. Stop it for a second, Brother Bernard. Well, at this time, she was talking about, because she moved back into the old house that she lived in. Mm-hmm. Because I believe her mom died, and I guess she went back and claimed the house because it got left to her somehow. So she moved back in it, and she was talking about, because I believe this is the house where all the violation took place, and she came and she took ownership of the house that she lived in when she was a little girl. But go ahead.
Man, that's deep. That's deep. We've seen that play out in a few movies, and I think it's a few celebrities that bought the property they grew up in, and they got rich. They bought that property, they just bulldozed it down or some stuff like that. Like, some people don't want to step foot back in there; they want to destroy it, basically. But wow. So yeah, that's interesting. Shout out to Coda Woda in the building, says, glad to see y'all link up on this. The streets appreciate you both, absolutely, and thank you for putting 5 on it.
Y'all gonna let Quarter Water just run y'all into the ground, man? He the only one that's giving my man, Brother Bernard, some money, man. Get them super chats going, you lazy Negroes. You got money. Go ahead, Brother Bernard.
I think even with my mom being gone, everybody is like, they still believe her, or like they take up for her, I would say. They always take up for her, like, oh, that's your mom, she had cancer. It's like, okay, well, cancer doesn't stop you from protecting your child or being a good person. I just don't understand that part. Her ex-boyfriend, I don't know where he's at. I really don't even care. I don't know.
Well, he was the guy. He was the guy who was doing this to you, though, right?
Yeah.
For all those years.
Yeah. Yep, sure was. And she allowed it, so she's just as guilty. And even though she'll say, like, oh, I told him to stop, then you're acknowledging that you do know what he's doing, and you don't care enough to get him out of your house to protect your child. And you're also telling me and showing me that you are taking up for him more than you've taken up for me. And that whole mother-daughter rival thing is there as well. Because as a mother, why would you want a man around that has an eye out for your child? A freaking kid. Like, come on, that's not cool. And it just shows me, like, some women would do anything to keep a man.
Stop it right there,
I
Brother
was already
Bernard.
going to stop right there. Before you speak, how old was she when this was happening?
I believe she said it happened from the time she was, I think, 10 up until the time she was about 14, 15, because it went on for years. It wasn't like it was like one time. It went on for years. And that's the thing, right? And she spoke to this, right? I say this a lot, and people give me heat for this too. I think that when these dudes come into these women's lives, wife. They move them into the girls. I think at times they think that allowing this dude to do this to these children is they'll go to any lengths to keep a man around, even if it means this man is in their daughter's bedroom every night. And they know about it because she said it. Her mother knew what was going on. She knew he was doing it and still kept him around, because I truly believe these old mamas put their own selfish needs and wants in front of the well-being of the child. All right? Because at the very least, at least she knew it was going on and acknowledged it. A lot of women do not do that, because if you acknowledge it, now you have to do something about it. Doing something about it meaning calling the police. Doing something about it meaning getting the dude out the house, sicking the dog on him, shooting him, throwing hot bleach on him, something. So, I mean, that's the thing, right? They see it as an incentive for these dudes to stay. As ridiculous and absurd and outrageous as that sounds, I truly believe that. But see, this is the thing. This is the caveat, right? This is where it turns. It's all right as long as the girl is young. Once the girl get to be 13, 14, 15, and she starts to fill out, she starts to grow, now it becomes a problem. And what happens is the mother usually kicks the girl out, because now she sees the girl as competition, now that the girl is starting to fill out. All right? As long as she's just a child, a little innocent girl, they don't have a problem with it at all. But once she become a teenager, now it's a problem, because see, now mama start thinking that this girl is taking her man. Think about that, folks. Think about it. And like I said, we ain't done, y'all. Oh boy, we are not done. This is lightweight compared to what's coming. But go ahead, Brother Bernard, you got it.
And if it means sacrificing their own kid.
So when did this all start? Like, I mean, at what age did this start for you? How old were you?
9.
Oh, I was wrong. It was 9.
I was 9 years old. I do know that they were writing each other. She found him on some dating website, so they contacted through there. We went down there. She showed me a picture of him, and it turns out they were like pen pals. So they were sending each other letters and stuff for however long. I don't know. Me and her, we went down there the summer I turned 9 to Texas. And his friend worked at a motel, so he got him a room and stuff. And yeah, spent some time down there. I thought he was okay. I thought he was kind of cool. Like, it was like my first time in Texas. My mom's from Texas, he's from Texas. I guess they bonded off of that. We saw one of his sisters. We went to like Six Flags and stuff. It was pretty fun. Then when he came up here, like me and her, we came back up here. I think less than a month later, he came up. Like, she told me like the day before that he was going to stay with us. He was moving in. And when he came that same day, that's like, I just got nothing but bad vibes from him. And I did not like him. And I actually cried that same day. And I was like, what are you crying for? I know things are going to change and stuff. And he's like, stop crying. You're too big to be crying. And like, he was just off the rip. Like, he was just ragging on me. I did not like that man. When he entered this house, his home, and everything changed. Like, the good dude he was in Texas when he went down there a couple months ago, well, all that was gone. That facade was just out the window. And yeah, she got sick. My mom got sick when I was in the 6th grade because when I was around 10, 9-ish, 10, yeah, I went down there in the 4th grade. 4th grade ended. Summertime, we went down there. He came up here, I think the summer, beginning of 5th grade. I was like 10 years old. Well, I turned 10 in 5th grade in May. She had adopted one of my cousins because his mom was on drugs, so she lost custody of all her kids. No one in the family could take them, so she took them. So then it's kind of like starting and building a family. Now I'm a big sister. 6th grade, my mom got sick. Well, she was already sick. She had cancer. Her left breast got removed. And that's when the abuse started. Because she was bedridden, not able to see anything. So he took advantage of that. And it just got worse from there.
So when this started, were you telling your mother? Were you like, look, this guy's doing something to me, Mom? Were you saying anything?
Of course. Of course I was. She didn't believe me. Anytime I said anything, she wouldn't believe me.
Stop it right there, Brother Bernard, for a
I still
second.
had it as from the family.
And that's typical too, right? When the kid goes to the mother and say, look, Mom, this dude is in my room. You know, he's doing this. Oh, that man ain't doing nothing to you. That's a good man. Why you lying on that man? And see, this is the thing. These dudes, they groom these children. They tell these children, look, no one's going to believe you. No one's going to believe you. And guess what? Because, see, it's the child's instinct, right? When this happens, to go ahead and tell mama, right? That's their instinct. The mom, this dude is touching me. This dude is in my room. He's, you know. But guess what? They go to their mother and mom don't believe them, just like the creep said. So guess what happens? After a while, they just stop telling. They stop because every time they go to mama, mama does not believe them. Mama does nothing. She does nothing. So after a while, they just stop telling.
Shout out to Freeman's Journal and Poseidon MGTOW. Freeman's Journal and Poseidon MGTOW for coming through on the Cash App. And I do appreciate your brothers coming through and supporting the Cash App. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like button. And I put it down there in the chat room. It's probably still not down there right now. But the link to Brother Xavier's channel, for those of you who are not subscribed to X, make sure you go down and make sure you click that link and subscribe to him. Make sure you click that link and subscribe to X.
Oh yeah, go down to my channel. Go down to my channel and check out the Most Unprotected series, man. I got a bunch of these. Unfortunately, I got a bunch of these. A bunch of these stories. All right, not told by me, told by the people who it's happened to.
Yeah, in those stories, is it always the reoccurring theme? Because, you know, the question always has to get asked if something that's happened to somebody as a kid. They'll say, okay, what you told your parents, what happened? You told your mom, what happened? The reoccurring theme is always either the mom, I'm assuming, ignored it. Like what is the reoccurring theme? Is it pretty much what we just heard right here? The mom just didn't believe it. That's pretty.
It's usually one of these things. It's usually mom ignores it, mom denies it, and sometimes it gets to the point where the mom actually blames the kid. You heard me. Sometime mom blames the kid for this because she's so wrapped up in this creep. She's so desperate to have a man around. I say again, she puts her own selfish needs and wants in front of the child's well-being. That's more important. Having this man around is more important than your child's mental state, your child's safety, your child's comfort, your child's physical safety. I mean, it's more important to them. Because think about it, right? Imagine this. I want to set y'all up. I want to digress a little bit, then I'll let Brother Bernard go ahead and run it. Because it's only a few more minutes of this anyway, but imagine this. Imagine if you, and not necessarily as a woman, but as a man, imagine if you were, say, 22, right? And you lived somewhere. And every night that you go to bed, someone would come in your room, hold you down, and sexually violate you. And there was nothing you can do. They held you down, you couldn't move, and they sexually violated you every night. And every morning, you see this person at breakfast, and this person is like, oh, you want some eggs? They in there cooking breakfast. You want some eggs? You want some bacon? You want some toast? You at the family reunion with the same person, knowing that they violated you last night, and they're probably going to violate you tonight or tomorrow night or next week. And that goes on forever. That would have an effect on your mental psyche, wouldn't it? Even though you are an adult. So imagine what it's like for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, because that's literally what's happening to them. They're being held down. They're being violated night after night after night. And guess what? When they get up in the morning, they walk in the kitchen, this same person in there cooking breakfast. This same person in there laughing and giggling with their mama. This same person they ride in the car with, going to grandma's house. This same person is at the barbecue grilling chicken. And they have to walk around knowing that this person violated them, has been violating them for days, weeks, months, years, and that they're probably going to do it tomorrow. What do you think that does to a kid? What do you think that would do to a fully grown adult? And children have to grow up with this. They have to grow up through this, man. And we wonder why these women are as sexually promiscuous as they are. We wonder why these women have these undiagnosed mental problems. A lot of these chicks, man, and a lot of the young brothers too, man, they grew up in this. This is what they grew up in and had to grow up through. And you trying to tell me that this doesn't have an effect on black society? If you believe that, you are out of your mind. And we like to think that it only happens to maybe 10 of us out of the 40 some odd million of us. Yeah, right, man. You think it's only 10 of us that this happens to? 20, 30? Yeah, right. But you got it, Brother Bernard.
And with him being here, it's just like even more isolation. She also talked about the family being dysfunctional, and we're a cursed people. The men in the family are cursed, and this, that, and the third. And everyone lived like 20, 30 minutes away. No one really came to visit us because it was too far away, and they had their own issues and things going on. So when I wanted to go to like a birthday party or a sleepover or something, I couldn't do that because she couldn't drive. He ain't got no license, and ain't no one gonna pick me up. And back then I didn't have a phone, and of course there was no GPS on the phones back then either, to take you to where you need to go. So it just kind of sucks. Like I was in a hellhole.
So did you ever tell anybody else besides your mom, like like your dad or like an uncle or something? Like where was your dad during all this?
He wasn't around.
Mm.
Well,
Well, that's
I'll
usually the
say he
case.
wasn't around me.
Mm. That's usually the case.
He,
That's who these
yeah,
guys choose. They choose people who don't, they choose children who don't have access to a man. So, but continue. Go ahead.
yeah. She would always say she groomed me to hate my dad. I don't care what anyone says. Like my family, like they just hate me for it, but I'm used to it because my story has always been the same. It's never changed. She groomed me to hate him. She would tell me all the time, like, your dad hates you. He doesn't want anything to do with you. Even if he was dead, he wouldn't care. He wouldn't come to your funeral. Stuff like that.
Wow,
All the time.
wow.
And like I'm
She
being
was telling
groomed
you
to hate
that.
him.
She was
Huh?
telling you that. She was telling you that even if you were dead, he wouldn't come to your funeral.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. Babe.
So while all of this was happening, right? Because how long did this go on? You said it started at 9. How long did it go on? How long did it go on?
7+ years.
Wow. So up until the time you were like 16. So
Hmm.
while this was going on, and you had your mother telling you that your dad didn't give a damn about you. So did that make it? I don't know. Do you think that that made you feel like you deserved what was happening to you? While this dude was doing it, like what was going on in your head? Like the first time he ever like came in your room or whatever. Like what was going on in your head as a child?
I felt violated
Mm, okay.
because there's no reason for that to be warranted at all. A grown man in my space violating me, whether it's touching me, saying things to me, and my mom just turning away from it like it just never happened. And then for them to try to make it seem like I'm crazy. And he'll tell her something else, and then she'll believe him, and she'll be mad at me. And like they'll tag team me all the time, be like, he didn't do this, he said this happened, you're lying. And it's like, I didn't do this, I did that. I don't know what you're seeing, your mind is still developing, so you're hallucinating, you're seeing things. He used to say stuff like that all the time. It's like, no, I know what I saw.
Yep. Yep. I can't hear you, brother Bernard.
Hold on, I was
Okay.
muted for a while. I know. I think I probably said something earlier, and then it didn't get heard. But no. So I do want to circle back. I do want to circle back to when okay, she said go. Oh, what she just said right there was crazy. But I do want to circle back to the part where she said that the mom, while all of this was happening, she was saying, well, your dad don't care about you. If he died, he wouldn't come to your funeral. If it's at any point in this conversation, I know this was a long conversation. We just playing a small part of it, but at any
Mm-hmm.
point in this conversation, did she ever grow up and come to find that maybe that wasn't exactly true? I mean, granted, he wasn't there for whatever reason, but do you think the mom, did extra added things to foster that separation? Because if she's saying stuff like that, it does kind of lead one to believe that it was some isolation or alienation of the dad, and and clearly protection of the predator that was there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Well, I had talked to Lady Nisha before. We had a long talk, like before we got on the air and all that kind of stuff. And I told her, I said, your mom was a monster. Um, And she did eventually connect, with her dad and all that kind of stuff. But like she said, she told me that her mom, like groomed her to hate her pops for whatever reason. It's the typical story. Oh man, your dad don't want you. And really the case is she don't want her old ass. All right. The dad don't want her. Has nothing to do with the kid. So it's the typical story. But that's kind of how it is. Like I said before, these children are kind of, isolated from their old man. So it leaves them vulnerable to this type of stuff, especially when you have a mom, all right, who helps facilitate it and the catalyst to it. She's in denial of it. So it makes it easier for the creep to do what he's doing. It just makes it easier because there's no man in the picture to protect the child. Mama's going along with it because she don't give a damn about what's going on with the kid, as long as the dude is staying there. So the kid is just kind of left out there, man, defenseless and unable to do anything. No one's believing them. She alluded to earlier, she had told other people. She's talked about it since she's been an adult. And to this day, people are still in denial of, oh, that didn't happen. Oh, you blame your mother. Oh, that didn't happen. Typical stuff, man. It's the typical, shh, let's keep the secret crap. Typical. Let's keep the secrets. Let's not discuss it. Let's not talk about it. If we don't talk about it, it's the same as it not happening. Typical.
No one in the building with the $5 super chat says, please have TPOT say these old mamas. We'll get to that. He says, do these women resent being mothers? Is resentment why they allow this devious behavior in their home? A really good question. Let brother Xavier take that one, and you gotta do the request that he put in the beginning right there.
Okay, just for you, man, because you did drop $5 on my brother. So these old mamas, just for you, brother. I think when it comes to, I don't want to say they resent being mothers per se. I mean, of course, I guess that's the case in some instances. But what I do believe is that a lot of these women just aren't qualified to be mothers. Not everybody who can pass a baby through their vagina is necessarily qualified to be someone's mother, right? Now, we just assume that, she had you, so, she can be your mama. I don't believe that. I just believe that some of these women, and I believe quite a large number of them, are simply not qualified to be mothers of children. They're just not. I mean, this is proof of it. This is proof of it. When you have children that are forced to live under these conditions, purposely, deliberately, this isn't someone, man, who this child should be with, man. Let's be honest here. A dragonfly could be a better mother to this child when this is going on. A horse, all right? I mean, some of these children, man, these children are treated worse than I treat my dog. And he's a dog, all right? He's a dog. He doesn't get starved. He doesn't get beaten. He doesn't get left alone. They get treated worse than my dog gets treated, man. Think about that. A human child gets treated worse than an animal. Come on, man.
What's funny, and I hate to make jokes about this. This is a serious statement, but it's just slightly humorous. But when you said a dragonfly could
be a better parent, yeah,
be a better parent. But okay, if you bump it up to a more higher species, let's just say like a goddamn orangutan. If you just put an orangutan and a toddler in a room together,
yes, the orangutan would be a better parent.
I mean, yeah, you just give the orangutan in that toddler 5 years. You know, just add running water. Maybe a tree out back where the orangutan could go grab a banana and hand it to the kid. The kid may be better off.
Yeah.
With the goddamn orangutan, because the orangutan could just basically sit there, look at it, make sure it don't kill itself, and just hand it food here and there. It's like that's
give it water and teach it how to throw feces. You know?
Yeah. So crazy as it sounds, a goddamn chimpanzee might be a better parent than some of these folks, man.
Absolutely. But people don't like you to say that. All right, because the first thing come out of their mouth is, "Oh, that was your mother. She did the best she could." No, she did not, man. She did as little as she could. That's why you were abused. That's why you were violated. That's why you were starved. That's why you were left alone. That's why you were beaten. That is not the best someone can do. It's not the best someone can do when you have to go through all of those things. How is that the best someone can do? And we have fell underneath that stupid ass trope for decades. For decades. That's what we've been hearing. Oh, mama did the best she could. BS. No, she didn't. She did as little as she could. That's why you went through what you went through. Let me tell you something. You got 180 people in here right now. I guarantee you at least 20 to 25 of them were abused when they were kids. Guaranteed. Now, I don't expect them to put their hand up and say, "Yeah, it happened to me, X." No. But guaranteed at least 20, 25 people, if not more, in this chat room has been physically abused. And guess what? Some of y'all sexually abused. That's just the truth.
All right.
Well, actually, we can jump off of this story. Go to the next one with Nora P.
Okay.
Go to the next one.
All right, we'll do that. And once again, while I pull that up, shout out to Poseidon MGTOW Freeman's Journal for sending those cash apps in. I'm fumbling through my controls trying to bring up the next story. Here it is right here. And it's at the 18-minute mark. I'm assuming that's the...
Yeah, you know, I'm old. I didn't have my glasses on when I was doing it, so gotta excuse me.
Yeah,
kind of squinting. I was kind of squinting.
Yeah, you can let me know if this is where you want it. You can let me know if this is where you want it. But let me see. Do that. Got a couple more clicks, and then it will be up on the screen. A couple more clicks, and it will be up on the screen. Shout out to Sodomy and Chicken. That name makes me laugh every time I see it. Thank you for that super chat. I will be reading that one momentarily. Give me a second. All right, we in business. We are in business. All right, let me get this up on the screen. Get this one ready to go for you. And while I got that ready to go, let's go ahead and formally shout out Sodomy and Chicken for the $5 super chat. Do appreciate you coming on through and dropping 5 on it. Harambe, the gorilla, proved he was a better parent than that boy's mom. She was hunting for D. I forgot about that part of the story. She was hunting for D, but the gorilla was actually concerned for the boy. Yeah, the gorilla was low-key trying to protect the boy, trying to look out for the boy, and they had to unfortunately shoot the gorilla. Yeah.
Damn, I look fat in this thing, but this is a while back, boy. Look how fat I look. Jesus.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and roll it.
No, they gave us the Z, but leave me because I stopped my uncle from bothering me, my baby sister.
Oh, well, hold up. Let me set this up. Let me set it up a little bit,
yeah,
Brother
yeah,
Bernard.
I forgot about that. My bad.
Now, those of you who follow the Proper Thought series, you're probably familiar with Nora P. Nora P is actually part of TPOT. You know, she's been down with TPOT for a while. Nora P's story is very pretty typical. She actually had her folks was taking her to her uncles and to be molested. And once her little sister got a certain age, once her sister got
Hold on, you
a
gotta back
certain
up. You gotta
age,
hold on.
they were
Wait
trying
up.
to
Wait
do
up.
it to
Hold
her
up.
too.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We can't skate past that. So it wasn't like circumstance, like
No,
happenstance, like he was there. Like they were
no.
literally like putting her in the car and driving her to the person to do it.
Dropping her off, knowing that she was going there to be violated. And then they started in on her little sister. So she was trying to avoid that by going ahead and, letting him do it to her to keep him from doing it to the little sister. But she's gonna talk about it. She'll talk about it.
Man.
I told y'all, when I come, I bring hell with me, and we're not finished.
Like every day. Like he literally would go by a prostitute or two and still come there and snatch you up and be like, they wouldn't be they were done around. And that I end up paying for some of those actions because he wasn't being protected. It was like literally asking me to have his baby. I'm maybe 13, I'm probably about 13 at the time in middle school.
So wait a minute. Let me stop you, Nora P. You said that he would go and buy prostitutes, and after he got done with the prostitutes, he would still come in your room after the prostitutes.
That's how I got messed up because he was already, what I'm saying, interesting things. And the crazy thing is this uncle, this particular uncle who we lived with, because there was another uncle who tried to do this too, but this particular uncle just died like 6 years ago, maybe 6 years. No, it probably been that long. He just died of AIDS.
Wow.
Same man just died of AIDS. Yeah. Um, then I was hearing, family was like, bisexual and stuff like that. So, they were just saying stuff, and I was like, now it makes sense. They never want to talk to us or wanted to talk to us. They still won't talk to me about these situations, you know. But somehow they always seem to care to inform us of what's going on, you know. And the fact that he just got recently AIDS, I just, it just made me think. I still run to the clinic and take my my distribution on AIDS test. It's something that happened years ago. My aunt just died. The one that took this. She just
All right,
died.
her volume is kind of low, so
Yeah, it is.
making
It
out.
is. It's really low.
So I'm kind of just making out what she's saying, and it sounds like the guy that they were I guess the uncle that they were taking her to be violated.
Hmm.
He did she say he died of AIDS?
Yeah, he died of AIDS.
And it sounded like she was saying something about she was going to get tested. Did she go get that checked out or no?
Yes, she's negative.
Okay.
Well, earlier on, because she had came on my show before too. Because I know her. I know Nora P. I've known her for a while. He ended up giving her, I think, gonorrhea at one point because he was out there. He had, like she said, had prostitutes, but he was still coming and molesting her, and started with the little sister too. It was crazy, man. Like, and she went through this for years as well.
Okay, I guess my question. I got to back up. And know like what's the reason why they were specifically going out of their way? Like I could see if he was just like the uncle that lived in the basement or some stuff, crept up who crept upstairs and did that, and people kind of turned a blind eye or something like that. But no, but they were going out their way to take her to him. Like, what was the reason? Like, was he like, did he have money? Was he paying everybody to, like, what was the deal?
Well, according to Nora, it was just something that they did. It's sort of like how those rednecks, they be like, "Hey, what's up, Uncle Daddy?" It's sort of like that. Like black rednecks. That whole redneck culture of it's okay. To be molesting the niece or the little sister or the cousin or it was like kind of like that. It was perfectly normal. It was normalized.
Yeah, hold on, wait, real quick. It's worth it to push pause real quick because, like, I do a lot on my channel as far as speaking up for men, advocating for men. I just recently did a stream talking about Andrew Tate. They're trying to get him on some sex trafficking type of stuff, and many aspects of the story has been exposed as nonsense. When it's real, this is what it sounds like. Okay,
Yes.
this is what it sounds like: a truly defenseless human being being basically just used for that, like parents, like her mom was in on this, correct or no?
Mm-hmm.
So
her mom, her aunts. I mean, it was more than one person. It wasn't just like it was just this one person. Everyone knew.
This is what it looks like: a damn child with the people who's supposed to be protecting the child basically leading them to the slaughter. That's what it actually looked like when people are actually guilty of something. This new age shit, we're grown ass thoughts in their mid-20s who trying to make money, flashing their nipples and toenails on the internet, are claiming that the person who was managing the website human trafficked them or some shit. That's when it's some bullshit, and then we will pick up sword and shield and defend men on that one. Just want to make that very clear. But this is what it sounds like when it's legit. It looks something like this. So,
Brother Bernard, this is the stuff we don't like to talk about, man.
Yeah.
Because see, these conversations are very uncomfortable. And it's not just uncomfortable to listen to. It's also uncomfortable to talk about. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's uncomfortable to talk about. That's why people don't like you to talk about it, because they can't believe that you're not uncomfortable with talking about it. Because I told you this before when I was here last time. We are a people of comfort. We like comfort. So when you're saying something that makes people uncomfortable, they expect you to be uncomfortable talking about it. And they can't understand why you're not uncomfortable talking about it. They can't understand it. So they don't want you to talk about it. They don't. And that's part of the whole thing, right? That's the part of it. Like I told you before, they don't want it spoke about. They don't want it talked about. They don't want it discussed. They don't want it acknowledged. They just want it swept away. They want everybody to go to the grave with the secrets, take the secrets to the casket. All right. Deny. A mama knew this was going on, but guess what? She's good old mama. So don't say nothing. Don't bring it up to mama ever again. If you do bring it up, mama gonna accuse you of lying or accuse you of saying something that did not happen. All right. I mean, that's just what it is, man. And it happens to so many black folks. It's a tragedy. It's an epidemic, man. It is. And people do not want to acknowledge it. They don't want to acknowledge it, man. I don't know why. All right. They think that this is just part of us. This is just something that goes on with us. So it shouldn't be discussed. They treat it like eating black-eyed peas and rice or something. Like, come on, man. This is an epidemic, man. And this stuff is so tragic. Because like I said, man, do you know the effect this has on a child, man, that has to endure this for years? and you expect this person to grow up and be normal after this? You expect this person to grow up and not have all types of emotional problems, mental problems. You expect this person to grow up and not act out for these girls, to get sexually violated for years and years and not be sexually promiscuous, because these things are a side effect of this. I mean, people who do this are more likely to do it to others. People who do this are more likely to be on drugs. Young girls that this happens to, guess what? They're more likely to be sexually promiscuous when they're younger, because guess what, man? By the time a girl get to be 14, 15, she done been looking at grown man penises ever since she was 9.
Ugh.
So guess what? By the time she 14, 15, she knows her way around a penis. She's been looking at them for like 6 years. All right? So all this stuff, man, is connected, man. It's not, this stuff isn't isolated. It ain't, this part is wrong and this part is right. No. All this stuff is connected. It's connected and it's rooted inside of many pockets of black society, and we have ignored it for years. We want to claim it's not going on, and if it is going on, it's only happening to about 5 of us. Out of the 40 million of us, it only happens to about 5 of us. That's kind of how we treat it. And we wonder why black folks is running around here with UMI, undiagnosed mental illness. We wonder why.
Shout out to Jerome D. He says this is one of the dark secrets of the boomer generation. Says they don't want to talk about it. Damn it, I want him to elaborate on that a little more. Do you think you think like what exactly do we mean by that? I wonder, is he talking specifically to this type of story and what was and what was happening there? Because this woman, she looks to be about 40. That means the people who was facilitating this stuff, they would probably be 60 right now, which would make them boomers. So
Yes.
it's like I don't want to go there and just throw boomers under the bus and say, oh, that type of stuff was really happening a lot back then. But what's your take on that?
I agree to a certain extent, but I think it carries over. From the boomer generation. I think that might have been kind of where it got started. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's totally isolated to them, because I've been talking about stories for the past 2-3 years, and these people are Gen X's, millennials that are doing this. I've had many stories. I talked about one story where this one lady, she was 40, which would make her late Gen X, early millennial. She had 3 daughters. One was 12, one was 13, one was 15. She moved some dude into her house, and guess what? He got all 3 of those girls pregnant.
Jesus Christ.
So I just think it's a carryover. I think it's in multiple generations. I think it happens at multiple stages. I don't think there's no particular age. The one thing that is common, and I'll say this again for a third time today, it's usually children that don't have access to their biological father that this happens to. Because these are the guys that, these guys, they pick their targets well, right? Because think about it. We heard Nisha talk earlier, right? And she said she told her mama this dude was doing something to her. And she's like, oh, he's not bothering you. You're lying, XYZ. When you're a kid and you go to your father and you tell your father that someone's touching you, guess what happens? Whatever your old man is doing at that time, he stops it. And he's going to wherever he think this Negro is. When you go to your old man and say, Pop, this dude is coming in my room at night. I don't care if your father is piloting the space shuttle. He's going to turn that shuttle around, come back to Earth, and go to wherever he think this Negro that's violating you is. That's what your old man is going to do. He's not going to say, oh, no, he's not doing anything to you. Oh, stop lying. Nope. Your old man is going to find this dude and ask questions later. See, mom goes right into asking questions and saying you're lying and denying it. Your old man does not do that. And guess what? These dudes who do this to these children, they know that these children have no access to their father. Therefore, there's no one to hold them to account. So guess what? They are easy pickings. They're easy pickings because you cannot continue to do this to a kid that has access to his father. No matter how stupid the mother is, no matter how much of an old mama she is. Because when you go to your old man and say, Pop, this dude coming in my room at night, somebody's probably going to end up shot. Yes, there's going to be a shooting. Yeah, there's going to be a shooting. So these dudes know who to mess with. They know, man. Because they watch. They see that this kid ain't around his father. They see that this girl ain't around her father. They see ain't no daddy coming to the house. They see that this child don't get taken to her father. They see this. So they know it's open season on the child, and they know the old mama's stupid, and they're going to be able to get away with it. It's pretty simple.
Theo in the building with the $2 super chat. Shout out to Theo. Where is it at?
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Theo says, throw the boomers under the bus, drive, and then back up. Yeah, be a lot of people in this space going in on the boomers. I'd never even looked at it that way until this sector of Black YouTube, where the boomers. I mean, it's some they got some dirt on their hands that I do understand, that I do talk about. But yeah, a lot of people go at the boomers on everything. So yeah, I normally stay out of that one. But so I was trying not to dog pile on it and throw him under the bus. But yeah, Theo was with it. He wanted all the smoke apparently. But all right. So we could roll a little bit more. This was the last clip that we had, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Then I'm gonna tell some nightmares from the hood.
Okay.
To y'all.
All right, we'll roll a little bit more of this, pending whether or not I can hear what she's saying. But she had just got to the point to where she had to check to see if the guy who her mama, auntie, Nim, whoever was taking her to. I don't know what this dude was doing or he was paying them. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, man.
I can't.
Insanity.
That's the only thing I could imagine is that he was paying them off some good money to bring. I mean, how old was she when they was bringing her to him?
Well, she said it started with her at about 7 or 8. It started.
Jesus Christ.
So, and then it always goes right on up to teenage years.
Yeah, I know some stories like that with someone I know personally. It happened like that. Like basically, it started happening when they're young, when their age is in single digits, and it basically don't stop until they get to the point to where they're damn near grown, and they could do something about it. It's like it's wild. It's wild.
They have to be old enough to either run away or mom get jealous of the brother violating her and throws her out. So
yeah.
I never got a chance to confront him, but I got a chance to see my aunt before she passed. And I don't know if I went to see her for all the right reasons or whatever. But, it was kind of felt good to look at her to be like, okay, I didn't grow up to be this girl who was.
Yeah, we're gonna move on. For some reason, that volume.
She's low.
Yeah,
well, we can jump past that, and I can tell these horrible stories.
Yeah, we can get right into that. But before we dive all the way into that, we got who we got in here. Blakeski Walker in the building says they don't know the lion is away from the den. They don't know the lion is away from the den. Shout out to you. Do appreciate you coming on through on the super chat and appreciate what you contributed to the show. Appreciate everybody who's contributed to the show, each and every one of you. Shout out to all of you. But I'm about to pass it to X right now. Hey, chill with that. Somebody dropping names of people. Never mind. I ain't even, just gonna ignore it. Just gonna ignore it.
Negroes, stop, Negroes.
Yeah, chill.
Stop.
Chill.
But keep those super chats coming, though. Keep them coming.
Yeah, and the only reason I say chill because I don't know all the details of said situation. So I don't even want to just be throwing somebody under the bus, and I don't even know all the details of the situation. But TBE Trucking in the building, shout out to you. He says, I think the 80s were the worst when single moms started letting anybody around their kids. Perhaps. E Capone in the building says, I got 5 on it, BR. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Y'all keep dropping them super chats on Brother Bernard, man. He bringing you good content like you do every damn day. And hit his Cash App and the whole 9. Do it. Do it now, Negroes. You Negroes got money. All of y'all ain't broke. Drop some money on this man. Come on now. Stop it. Don't be cheap, Negroes.
All right. And while y'all are at it, for those of you who haven't already, make sure you are subscribed to Brother Xavier. Theo said he broke. Now we know that ain't. That ain't true. We know that ain't true. Theo, cut it out. But Theo, if you broke, you won't be broke for two. You won't be broke for long. You going and plug into them computers, pull a 24-hour shift to doing all that IT stuff. You ain't gonna be.
Man, I was talking to Brother Theo a while back, man. He was telling me about some shoes that he bought that was like $6,000 or something like that. I'm like, $6,000 for a pair of shoes?
Yo, the only reason dudes got $6,000 shoes is to try to floss in front of the women. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's really your thing to try to impress women who are impressed by $6,000 shoes. So I gotta ask, why the hell you buy some $6,000 shoes? I can't believe that one, Theo.
Yeah.
Bad move, Theo. Bad move.
I think he said it's like $5,000 or $6,000 he paid for some shoes we was talking about. I was like, man.
How does that make you feel when you step in some dog shit in some $5,000 shoes? It just it got to hit different. Like, oh yeah, like I mean, I recently stepped in some, but I had on like $130 pair of shoes. No big deal. You clean it off your shoes and you move on. But when you got on $5,000, if the shoes cost $5,000, they should like evaporate the dog shit right before you step on it.
Oh
yeah, shoes cost $5,000. Like it should be just impervious to any type of germs or anything on the ground that could possibly stain them things. They should just have automatic mechanisms to rid of all. Oh, anyway, all right. Yeah, you better be some Tony Stark boots. You better be able to go sailing across the sky with them things.
Yeah, you can fly with them. They turn into a suit. All of that. They do all. They drive a car by themselves. All of that.
Yeah, that's what some $5,000 shoes better do. But all right. But anyway, let's go into like the house of horrors, so to speak.
Okay. Now, those of you who follow the Popular Thought series, I've been in media for quite some time. I started out with, radio and stuff like that. Been doing it since 2010, 2011. Y'all know that, right? Those of you who have been following me all this time. And when I first started out in radio, I used to do these interviews with people pretty regularly. Back when I was in New York, because I started out when I was in New York. And I used to be in New York City a lot. And I interviewed one girl. Well, before I even get started, let me go ahead and put a disclaimer for those of you who want to leave right now. The following things I'm about to tell you are going to be pretty graphic. They're going to be pretty horrific, and some of it may be unbelievable. And if you don't believe me, I can actually send you excerpts from some of these interviews, because these were real life interviews done in person. I recorded them and everything. I never aired them because after I did them, the girls were like, oh, I don't know, X, if I want you to put it out there, even though they signed a release, because I used to do real live releases and everything, make them sign a release, that these photos, images, audio, video is property of the Proper Thought series, et cetera, et cetera. And, it was a legal document and they had to sign it. But anyway, I'll tell you the first story. I interviewed a girl back in 2011 out in New York City. And we sat down, we talked, and she told me about her story of abuse. Her mother got with two men. The first man that her mother got, she was about 7 years old, she told me. And she said the violation began pretty much immediately as soon as he moved into the house. From the time she was 7 up until the time she was about 10, this dude was in her room, doing all kinds of stuff to her. She said he would tie her down, sexually violate her over and over and over, make her do all kinds of stuff to him, make her, give him blowjobs, all kinds of stuff, jerk him off, everything. And she was 7, from the time she was 7 up until the time she was 10. He eventually left, right? Mom got another man immediately after that. And he was there 6 months, she said, and he started in on her. And he molested her all the way up until she was about 16, 17. Same thing. Sexually violating her, doing all kinds of sexual stuff to her. And with both men, she said her mother knew. But this is the kicker for the second one. The second one, she was 16, I believe she said. The guy ended up getting her pregnant, right? So when she got pregnant by this guy that her mother was with, the guy eventually left, right? And when he left, guess what? She went with him. She went with him. She went with him when he left.
Who was she? Hold on.
The daughter who was being molested. When she got pregnant, he left. He left her mother. And when he left, she went with him. She went with him. She eventually had his baby and had 2 more by him after that. When I spoke to her in 2011, they were still together. I asked her, I said, what made you eventually go, with this guy, after being molested for a second time by a second man that your mother had around? Of course, it's Stockholm syndrome, like Brother Anton is saying. Of course, it's Stockholm syndrome. But she said that after a while, she actually started to enjoy it. She said she started to enjoy it. She knew it was coming. So when he came in the room at night, she was ready for him. She said she actually used to kind of dress up for him. She would make sure that, she was just in her panties and bra when he came into the room. She said sometimes she knew he was coming in. She would lay on top of the bed, naked, waiting for him. They became a quote unquote couple. She said it felt good that this man was sneaking around with her behind her mother's back. she said it felt like it was a real relationship because she was resentful of her mother for allowing it to happen to her when she was 7 up until the time she was 10. And she also resented her mother allowing it to happen to her with the second teen. She actually started to enjoy it. She actually started to
Hold on, wait, you borged out. You borged out for a second. Back up. You said just back up about 2 sentences. You were saying last thing we heard is when you said that she resented her mom for letting it happen to her when she was 7 or 10
Yes.
or something like that, and then everything you said after that, it got a little shaky.
Yes, she says she resented her mom for allowing it to happen to her when she was little. And she also resented her mom for letting it happen to her with the second guy as well. But she said by the time she was 12, 13, she saw it as payback, against the mom.
Oh wow, payback. How old was she when the second guy came around? Because I take it the first one was from that 7 to 10 range.
Yes. I think the second guy was like maybe 10. She was 10 or 11. And he molested her up until the time she was about 16 and eventually got her pregnant.
So, but at about 12, she just looked at it as
normal.
Normal and payback to the mom.
Yes. Yes. She said it actually felt good that this guy was sneaking around behind her mother's back. And she liked the fact that he was, sneaking around with her. And when I spoke to her back then, now mind you, this is 10, 12 years ago, her and her mom don't have a relationship now at all. And it's not because of the fact that mom was allowing the child to be molested. They don't have a relationship. Peep this, because mom thinks she stole her man. That is why they don't have a relationship. Not because of the molestation, because mom thinks the girl stole her man. And technically, she did.
Yeah.
Technically. And like I said, she got pregnant with this guy's kid, had 2 more with him after that. Because at the time, they were still together. Now, this was back, like I said, like 2011, so I don't know what the hell's going on now. And I have this on tape, y'all. I have this on tape, on video. I had all my camera equipment and all that stuff set up out there in the whole 9. I think I'll sell copies for the $10 piece. God damn it! If you want a DVD of this, hit me up at prophetofthought@yahoo.com. But yeah, and I never aired it. I never aired it because she was like, "Oh, X, I don't know. I don't want the family to come after me. I don't want, all this kind of stuff." So I never aired it. Now, like I said, I did this in 2011. 2011. All right. And guess what? I still have it. Of course, I still have it. But I never aired it. Okay. I never did. And like I said, she had 3 kids with this guy. They were a couple when I spoke to her more than a decade ago. And I asked her, I said, has it ever occurred to you that now that you have kids and 2 of the kids that she has by this guy are daughters?
Mm-hmm.
I said, would you want your daughters to grow up to do this? And she was like, no. She said she's extra protective over her daughters. And, when it comes to biological fathers are really less likely to do this to their kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, if something was to happen between you and, this guy, and you get another guy, would you watch him more? Would you, pay more attention because you have this story going on? Would you watch him more? And she was like, I would never let a guy, move in that wasn't their father because of what she went through. So, I mean, it's just crazy, man. It's the fact that she like actually took up with the guy when he left when she was 16 and became a couple and a pseudo dysfunctional family, if you will, with the guy. Because like I said, she had 2 more kids by this guy after that. All right.
Man, that's one of the craziest ones I've heard.
Oh, it gets better because I got one boy that's going to shake y'all to the core.
Yeah, we'll probably we'll get one more in. That one was wild. That one was wild all the way. But Theo Wife in the building says, Western women, this is your problem. Passport bros have nothing to do with this. Wish you the best of luck. We are going. Oh, our shoes be fly. That's a reference to those that weren't in here when we was talking about Theo bought a $5,000 to $6,000 pair of shoes. I don't know what the hell for, but but apparently he bought a $5,000 to $6,000 pair of shoes. But modern day problems in the building sent a $10 cash app, so do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the stream. But
yes,
yeah, that was
man.
that
Hit
was
Brother Bernard up. Hit him up, y'all. Keep it coming.
That was an insane story. That was an insane story. If you got one to top that, I'm interested. That'll be the one. You'll take us home. You'll take us home with that one.
This is the coup de grace because I always save the best for last. Now, y'all are probably going to hate me for telling this story, but I think you're going to hate the perpetrator even more because I also interviewed a chick in, I believe, 2013 or 14. I interviewed her, and her story was similar. She says she was about 7 or 8 when her mother moved a guy in as well. And typical story, told mama didn't believe her, right? But she said this guy groomed her. You know, he told her that, you know, no one will believe you. You know, you tell, they're going to think you lying. And of course, that was the case. She went and told her mother this dude was doing stuff to her. Mom didn't believe it. So she just pretty much stopped telling. And she went into graphic detail, which I'm about to do right now, folks. So if you are weak of heart, it's time to leave. But she said this dude would come into her room at night, right? He would pull out his joint, make her stroke it, make her lick it. And she said the reason why he would do that to her, because she was 7, 8 years old, he couldn't penetrate her. He couldn't penetrate her. So he would make her give him oral. And what she said would happen when he was about to ejaculate, he would grab her little ponytail, squirt in her face, and tell her to rub it on her face like lotion. Then she said as she got to get older, he would make her grease herself, grease her anus, and she said that he would penetrate her anus, and when he got ready to ejaculate, he would ejaculate in her little mouth when she was like 8, 9, 10. So she said after a while, she actually got used to it. She got used to him coming in her room doing this. She expected it. So she said she got really, really good at it because he told her, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. So she started to learn how to do this stuff. She started to learn how to jack him off. She started to learn how to give him head, all of that. And like I said, she said that he would grab her little ponytail and squirt in her face. Now, this is a 7, 8, 9-year-old kid we're talking about here. All right. Now, at the time that I talked to her, I think she was 30 at the time. I don't even remember. This was back in like 2014. It's been a while ago. I mean, I got a million of these stories, man. I talked to so many people about this kind of stuff. And she said he did it to her up until the time she was about 15 or 16. And she said when she got to be 15, she said she eventually ran away and went and lived with her grandmother. But he did this to her all the way up until the time she was a teenager, man. All the way up to the time she was a teenager. And I asked her, I was like, where was your dad? Her dad wasn't around. And
Was it the same story with the mom?
In denial, the man's not doing nothing to you, you lying, etc., etc. It's always the same old crap, man. It's like a repeat broken record. Told y'all the last one was gonna be hell. When X comes, he brings hell with him. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. And that's just, these stories I've told y'all, man, are two of so many I've heard. Why do you think I talk about this stuff the way that I do, brothers? Why? I'm not making this stuff up, brothers. Do y'all believe me yet, man? Those of you who have been following me since 2015, do y'all believe me yet? Do y'all believe me yet?
Man. You sitting on a book, man. That's all. I'll just say that. You're sitting on a book. Mix it with the stories, all the stories that you've been told that you got on tape, put them into writing, mixed with just your own thoughts that come out of your head when you explaining and breaking this stuff down. And you got stories.
You've been telling me that for a while, brother Bernard. You've been telling me that for a while.
You sitting on a bestseller. You're sitting on a bestseller. But man, look. We got to get up out of here. And I can't take no more. I can't take no more.
I can't take no more. Well, I'm sorry, brother Bernard, because when I come, man, I always bring hell with me, man. I do.
And I appreciate that. But that was that's wild, because we'll put it like this. There are some people that I know personally who've been molested. I never asked them the details. I've heard like small details, but it's like, because we hear about it and it's like, yeah, that's bad. Yeah. But if you really hear the actual person, the horse's mouth, like walk you through the process where every other night or every night or twice a week, three times a week, this person is coming in the room and this is specifically what they're doing when they come in. Mm-hmm. And I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, and I know it's going to happen. I'm doing things that it's like, yeah,
yeah, man. I mean, I think
it's the detail. I think Jackie's Retro is with me. It's the details that I never needed. It's the details I never needed that really just make it hit home to, we know that we know it's fucked up, but yes. it's you never play out the details in your head. You never do. And like, God damn.
And think about it, man. I mean, how many people has this kind of stuff destroyed, man? The bigger message is, how many people have went through this, man, and it ruined them, man. Because I would imagine it's hard to recover, from all this kind of crap. I mean, it's got to be difficult, man, to kind of maintain as an adult. And I guess that's why a lot of us don't like to talk about it, man. We don't want to relive those nightmares. We don't want to relive the fact that we went through something that we clearly could not understand for a course of time. We couldn't understand it. So why would we want to relive it? But see, I'm like this, and I've told many people this, that these conversations are uncomfortable. But guess what? The uncomfortable conversations are the best ones to have because they open your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, sun is hot around the building. Oh, and this is a good note to leave on. Where he says, whenever I hear matriarchy, gynocracy, I hear unprotected community. But when I hear patriarchy, I hear a deterrent. A lot of the things that gets talked about in this space, if it plays out, they're like, oh, you guys just think too much about traditionalism and blah 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 blah. It's like here's the deal. A lot of the protections that they don't have, when they had those protections, they called it oppression. They thought it was very oppressive. So when we be talking and we get on our shit and we start talking our shit and we be sounding real chauvinistic, or some would possibly say misogynistic, the type of society that we actually would advocate for if we had a magic wand with it, it would be a more traditional society. And where some would say that there's an element of chauvinism in it, but there's some I'll call it benevolent chauvinism, where yes, women and children are protected.
Mm-hmm.
Men are in the lead, men are in charge, men are out working, and women and children are protected. When that's flipped around, that's part of what introduces a lot of these stories that X is telling, because all those stories start with well, the new boyfriend moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And they all start with that story.
Yep.
When the new boyfriend moved in. So and I'll keep in mind, it's women who are up in arms fighting and ranting and raving against patriarchy, the evils and wickedness of patriarchy. No, patriarchy protects women. Patriarchy reduces the amount of stories like the ones X just told. So we can end on that note. We can end on that note right there. But thank you everybody who came on through. That was this was I knew this was gonna be a wild one. And I'm leaving it up to. Even though it was some things said that normally we take down. I'm leaving this bad boy up. Jockey's Retro in the building says, crazy thing is somebody probably did that to him when he that's another angle on it. I forget. I don't know how I'm forgetting the details, but I think R. Kelly himself was sexually assaulted. Yeah. So there's that. Yeah. It turns into a circle, and sometimes I don't even like to go down that route, because I am the type of person that do like to grab and shake individuals and say you're in control of your own life, but there are circles and cycles and and things that happen, generationally. I don't believe in all the generational curse thing, but there are some things that happen in previous generations, did things that had an effect on the individuals coming up in the next generation, and they repeat the cycle and do the same shit to their kids or those around them. And it's like it's all fucked up. And that's why I trace a lot of things that we talk about back to culture. I think culture, good strong culture, changes and prevents a lot of this stuff, and is the way out of it for me. I don't think it's policy as much, like some would say. We have debates over culture versus policy that's going to change the way people move and the way people operate. But either way, great discussion, X. Another good one, another instant classic in the books with X, man. This was wild. So I'd like to formally thank you for coming on board. And y'all make sure y'all subscribe to X. Y'all like all this fire when it's over here. Make sure you go over there and check them out.
I have many of these folks, unfortunately, and some of your YouTubers that have come on my show and talked about this themselves. So go check it out, man. It's all there.
And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace.
Peace, Negroes.